The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello and welcome to the Hoop Ball NBA DFS Today podcast. Today is Monday, December 2nd, and I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined with one of, if not the biggest sharks in the NBA DFS world, Mr. Mike Apotria. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing well, Coach. I had a fun weekend. I got to go out with the girlfriend and a friend of mine. Went to the casino, so mentioned that on the other show. We talked about playing number.
How'd you do?
I played your number, Coach. It did not hit, unfortunately. But it was one number off. So I'll give it. I'm gonna say that if I played it a few more times, it was definitely hitting. I didn't do too well. I didn't go there, expecting to spend a lot, and I lost a little bit. But my buddy, he cashed out pretty well.
Nice.
I think he ended up winning like 1,200 or something like that. So,
jeez, not bad, man, not bad.
Fun night overall. So now I got to break down a bunch of the stuff earlier. I was doing some blurbs all afternoon, and I think I got a pretty good handle on this slate, Coach. I'm pretty excited to talk about it.
Fantastic. Well, let's dive in. We're going to go after. We've got a 6-game slate. Two 7 p.m. games, a 7:30, 2 8s, and then a late night sweat 10 o'clock game. So, perfect size slate. Should be very interesting to break down here, and definitely some money to be won. So, before we get started, we want to thank our presenting sponsor, Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. We appreciate their sponsorship. They've been with hoop-ball.com from the beginning, and hopefully that will be a relationship that will always be there, because we certainly all support their company with producing coffee, because we're all addicted to the Hawaiian Isles Kona coffee for sure. So good stuff. So we thank them, and we want to dive right in. 6-game slate. First game on the slate is the Phoenix Suns at the Charlotte Hornets. Who would you like to take, sir?
We'll start with Phoenix, because I generally pretty much look at the same guys on Charlotte every game in and out. So looking at the Phoenix side of the ball, I think it's opportunity here with a price tag of Ricky Rubio. I think we could finally jump back on it. It looks like that minutes limit and everything with his back is finally cleared up. He played 33 minutes in the last one. He's not mentioned on the injury report. So at that price tag in this matchup, I have no problem rolling out Ricky Rubio. I'd probably prefer him point per dollar to Devin Booker. Not anything bad being said about Devin Booker. He's lights out scorer, can blow up on any slate. But if you're talking about I know you like cash games, Coach. When you're talking about just a safe floor, Ricky Rubio provides that, and he also provides a nice ceiling at that price tag. So he'd be my main focus on the Phoenix side. One thing I want to do monitor is going to be the injuries of the guys between Miles Bridges and Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
So both those guys are currently questionable right now. If one or both of them were to sit, I think that you could pretty much just lock and load Kelly Oubre and just know that he's playing big minutes. And that's the one thing that we have to worry about when we play Oubre is you'll notice in some of the games where he has those down games in the teens, that's because he played maybe 18, 29, 24 minutes. But when he's getting 30 to 40 minutes, it's almost stone cold lock 35 to 40 DK points. So you're paying for him at 7K, but I feel like you could feel a little better about paying for him if one or two of those guys sit out.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that's a good point. And I'll tell you, I watched quite a bit of that last Suns game, and Oubre looked fantastic, man. He's really coming into his own all the way around. I mean, he was blocking shots and finishing at the rim. He's a nice ball player. All right, as far as the pace in this game, Phoenix is 10th in the league. Charlotte's 25th. So, we've got a pace down game for Phoenix, which is a little bit of a concern. Charlotte has been slowing it down. But it is quite a bit of a pace-up game on that side of the ball. Devontae Graham is a guy that really gets my interest. He has been hot, and I think the type of defense that the backcourt in Phoenix plays, I think it will be a good fit for him. He's certainly a guy that gets my attention. I think Rubio was a good call on your part. I mean, he looked like he's back from injury and, certainly, can score fantasy points in a lot of different ways. Plus, in defensive efficiency, I think something to note here is Charlotte's got the second worst defense in the league. They've been plummeting to the bottom. Washington's the only team behind them. So, that really encourages me to go a little bit more towards Phoenix. And I think, Rubio and Oubre are both great plays. Baines is back from injury, but he just doesn't look quite right yet. I think it's a little bit more wait and see. And then, like I say, Phoenix is 19th defensively, so they're below even the middle of the pack as well. Devontae Graham, to me, is certainly in play. The big men are confusing right now with Charlotte because you've got Biyombo splitting time with Zeller. You got P.J. Washington, Marvin Williams, and a lot of guys getting minutes in the bigs. So I do like this game, and I think that just the lack of defense on both sides comes into play. So I'll be probably stacking about 3 guys from this game, specifically targeting Graham, Rubio, and Oubre.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on board with Graham. I think you can also look at Rozier. Both their price tags are fair, especially in this matchup. And they've both, been showing pretty good floors recently. It looks like they're starting to gel playing together. They're both getting their shot attempts, and generally they're leading the team in the shot attempts. So I'm okay with rolling out either one of those guys. I don't think either one of them are necessarily priority, like must play, start your lineup with kind of guys. But it's a good matchup and good price tags on both of them. Don't mind them.
Good stuff. All right, we go to the second 7 o'clock game. It's the Utah Jazz at 12-8 against the Philadelphia 76ers, 14-6. Jazz, I watched them. They're going to be on the second half of a doubleheader and traveling to Philly, so that could be tough for the Jazz. It was a bizarre game. Did you watch any of that game tonight?
No, I did not catch any of it. Why? What happened? Is there anything I should have seen?
Well, the incredible thing was the Jazz, guess how many they trailed by at halftime? Take a stab.
7?
40. I'm not kidding you. They were down by
I didn't even catch
40.
any of it.
Yeah, they proceeded to have the biggest quarter in the history of Utah Jazz basketball. I believe they scored 49 in the third quarter. Something just absolutely incredible. And they cut it all the way down to like 14 from 40 in one quarter. So I couldn't stop watching. I was like, what the heck? And then like teams normally do when they make monster runs like that, they just ran out of gas. And then Toronto pulled back away at the end and won by 20. But I don't think I've ever seen a team down that many at halftime and then make such a big run. But, that being said, and the reason I brought it up is that gives me major concern that they're on the second night of a back-to-back, coming off a big effort of trying to come back like that, and then having to travel to Philly and play a fantastic Philadelphia defensive team that ranks 8th right now in the entire league. And the Jazz are no slouches either. They're 6th. So you've got 2 really, really good defensive teams and teams that are half-court setup type of teams. They're 18th and 21st in pace. So, if there's ever a game to not rely much on, I think it's this one. I think you've got several reasons why I think this is going to be a pass game for me. One being I think Philly could blow them out because of just the advantage of having the rest in Utah traveling and being tired. And both teams are slow paced and they both play good D and they're both grind out kind of teams. So I'm certainly not going to pay up for Embiid or Donovan Mitchell or anything like that. And I'll give this game to you. It's the other thing I like about it is it's the NBA TV national game, and I'm telling you right now, those games always get more ownership because people that don't have the ticket, especially, are watching those games and they want to roster those guys. So it's even more motivation for me to pass. So I will turn this game over to you.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat as you. I mean, there's one guy I do have slight interest in, and it's only because of the price tag and the given matchup, and it's on the Utah side. It'd be Rudy Gobert, 7,400. They're going to need his size against Joel Embiid. These guys played earlier in the season, and Gobert went off for it was like a 14-point, 16 rebound game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get good run. He only played 28 minutes tonight during the blowout, so he got pulled early enough where he didn't play too much. So
Yeah.
I think you could still look at some of these Utah guys despite that blowout. Like Conley only played about 25 minutes, so I'm not going to go to them just in this matchup. That's the main reason I don't want to play these guys. It's simply because of the matchup. I'm not as scared off necessarily because of the blowout or the back-to-back because of the blowout. Most of the starters got rested, so I think Gobert's going to be my main target if anybody in this game. Pretty good with fading the whole Philly side over there. Just all of them healthy, all of them playing. That usage gets spread out pretty evenly.
Yeah.
Josh Richardson is out, but Korkmaz coming in isn't really necessarily you taking a bunch of that usage, and he's getting priced up at 4,200 at DraftKings, where you're not getting that great value. We have plenty of good value that we could talk about later in the games for just about the similar price tag. So I'm good.
Yeah, well, that makes that one pretty darn easy. All right, let's go on to game 3. That is a 7:30 game. Golden State Warriors at the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this one definitely is interesting. You got the 4-17 Warriors at the 4-16 Hawks, but that doesn't mean anything to DFS. DFS loves these kinds of games because neither team plays defense. Both teams can score. Let's take a quick gander here. In pace, Atlanta's 8th, so they're getting up and down, and Golden State's now up to 13th. So they're both going to move. They're both going to get some additional possessions, which are really going to help matters. Atlanta's got the third worst defense, Golden State the fourth worst defense. So you got two teams, like I said, that don't defend, and you have some guys that can light it up. A couple of things stand out. Obviously, Trae Young's going to be very, very, very high owned on this slate, and deservedly so. The dude just fills it up. I noticed something the other night. I couldn't believe they were down 30 in the fourth quarter midway through, and the coach was playing Trae Young. So that just says a lot that I think he wants to promote Young as far as just being an all-star, being, whatever it is, get him that notoriety with those extra minutes. And even if that just means an extra 5 minutes a game from the coach, those are a lot of fantasy points. So, I'm a big Trae Young guy in this game. I think he'll do very well. I'm probably going to steer from Jabari Parker because he'll probably get Draymond defense, which
Draymond. Sorry to cut you off. He's most likely going to sit.
Is he going to sit?
Yeah,
okay.
It's most likely. It pretty much got announced maybe 15 minutes before we went on air. So they said he's most likely going to sit because it's a back-to-back and rest.
Well, that brings Jabari back into play on a pace game that, you got to look for the top scorers on both sides, and I think Trae and Jabari are the two guys that you have to look at first. I think those two guys are in play, and then on the Golden State side, they played at Orlando, lost a close one. It came down to the wire actually, and they lose 100-96. But they're only playing 8 guys, and one of them got hurt tonight. It was Jordan Poole that got hurt. So you got to really look at Golden State. I mean, let's look at this again. Draymond sits. That leaves Pascal, who played 35 minutes. He's in play. Willie Cauley-Stein had a great game. He had double-double with 11 points and 12 rebounds. he's in play. Glenn Robinson and Alec Burks and Kai Bowman, all three of those guys as well, 36, 37 minutes apiece, and getting it done. So, man, you could stack this game very easily with any mix of Pascal, Robinson, Burks, and Bowman, and even Cauley Stein if you're looking for value at center, and then stack it back up on the other side, and be done with it. I think that this game probably will have the highest over/under on the board. I haven't seen any pre-numbers yet, but it just looks as though this would make sense to be, a big total, Vegas total. I'm sure this will be the highest. And I think you got to stack this game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of lineups out there in cash or GPP that don't have 3, 4, 5 pieces from this game. I really don't.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, and it's pretty simple for me. I mean, I've been all over Trae Young all year. I hope people are scared off of that 10-5 price tag.
That is a lot.
I'm
man.
not. Listen, we're going to have plenty of value. We're going to get to a lot of it later. We're already getting some good mid-tier value in this game with everybody on that Golden State side, like you said. They all get a bump in pace. It's all going to give them, they're all underpriced for what they should do. Draymond sitting out plays a huge factor because now I'm expecting Bowman to start. Probably play 30-plus minutes. And, this guy's been getting it done in just, 28 minutes here and there coming off the bench. It's a totally different story when he's in that starting lineup and he's starting across from Trae Young, the worst statistical defender at point guard in the NBA. So I will have a ton of shares of both of those two guys. I think Parker is in play. I'm going to monitor Cam Reddish's news. Right now he's currently questionable with a wrist injury. If he sits, I think Bembry's right back into play. I love playing Bembry. I think this is a great matchup with him. I'm not scared off by that 4,800 price tag. He shot 1 for 9 in the last game. He did it with the periphery stats. If he shot a little bit better, he would have had a pretty solid game. So I would expect a decent bounce back from him as well. So those are my 3 guys I'm interested in the Hawks. Like I said, a ton of interest in Bowman. Looking at him, I think a ton of interest in Burks too at 6K. He's playing 30-plus minutes in every game in the past 4 or 5 games. So fantastic matchup for him as well. I think Pascal is going to be another one of the options I would look at. Robinson's been playing good, solid minutes every single game. He's another option. I think Cauley Stein would probably be my 5th out of the starting rotation, only because we're going to have other center options I like a little bit better for a cheaper price tag that we'll get to later. And we know that the Hawks will play small if they have to. They're perfectly fine with that.
Good call. Good call. All right, halfway through. Let's dive right in. We're moving along tonight. We decided we're going to try to keep a good solid pace, and we're doing it so far. So the first of the 2 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time games. Pacers at 12-7 at the Grizzlies at 6-13. You have a Pacers team that has everybody back. Again, we'll have to watch news tomorrow, make sure everybody's in there. But one thing that I noticed with the Pacers, and I'll just jump on this side of it real quick, is with everybody back, Brogdon is a stud. Sabonis is really good. Warren has been throwing up some big games. Jeremy Lamb's not shy to shoot the ball. You've got the guys really contributing now off the bench with the Holiday brothers and Goga Batadze and some of the other guys as well. So, my concern with the Pacers DFS-wise is I've noticed the last 2 games now that they've had everybody back, they don't quite make my lineup. I just think there's so many mouths to feed there, and they're all sharing the ball, and they're a good team. And they don't even have Oladipo back yet. Then it's really going to be tough. But, I want to play Pacers. I like the Pacers team, and I don't know if I can get there with this new situation of just so many guys chipping in and doing a good job. So, I can say this much, though. The pace is a pace-up game majorly for Indiana. Memphis is up to 6th in the league. Indiana's 23rd. So pace down for Memphis, pace up for Indiana. Memphis is sort of a mess right now. We know that Jaw's out for quite a while. They said he's week to week. That's never a good sign when you use that term, week to week. Joe Val missed today because of a infection or virus. He was sick. So they are just in shambles, and Indiana's playing good ball. This game just scares the hell out of me, man. I really, Tyus Jones, you have to look at. He had mid-30s fantasy points. He's a value. He's their starting point guard. But did you see who else had a big game? The third string point guard.
D'Anthony. Yeah, no, he's a good prospect. He was the guy that was over there in Houston last season. He had a good season with them too, and he's very good. Listen,
D'Anthony Melton, right? That's
yep.
yeah.
And well,
Go ahead, jump in.
I was going to touch on him a little bit, and I definitely think he's an option to look at. Now, listen, I think a lot of people are going to be tantalized by that and be gravitated towards that, and probably prefer to play him over Tyus Jones.
Wow.
I think a lot of people in GPPs necessarily. I think Tyus Jones will still garner his own ownership, but I think Melton's going to garner some too. And for rightfully so.
Do I spell a chicken suit challenge?
Oh no, we're going to get to it. I don't really like Melton that much.
Oh, come on.
No, I like somebody else for a cheaper price tag on the Memphis side that I'll get to. I mean, I was going to say
Bruno Caboclo, give me a break.
I'm a big Caboclo guy.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll just hit that one right away. Yeah, I'm gonna have interest in Bruno Caboclo, and it's simply, if Joe Val sits again, it's a lock and load for me. I'm playing him all across the board, without a doubt, and it's simply because Brandon Clark re-aggravated his injury in his right hip injury, left the game early, did not return. I highly doubt he'll play in this game. I'd be surprised if he does. They're going to need the size against this Indiana team that plays two centers practically in the front court, and then brings another 7-footer off their bench. So I think Caboclo is going to have to play. He fills up the stat sheets, whether it's steals, blocks, rebounds, threes, assists. He gets a lot of everything. I love that. He's near min salary. If not, I think he actually might be. Yeah, he is min salary. I'm all over him if the situation pans out right. And I do think Tyus Jones is still in play at 5,600. I'm going to probably avoid Jaren Jackson Jr. I like him in the right matchup. I don't think this is the matchup I want to target him in. So I'll probably ease back off of him and mostly just be looking at those two guys.
Yeah, and if Joe Val sits, you can't fade Caboclo. He's going to be 1,000,000% owned, but at the price he is and the minutes that he's going to get and the production, he's just automatic. If Joe Val plays, then you don't have to go the Bruno direction. But with Clark out,
can I cut in real quick, Coach?
Sure.
I do have interest in Bruno if Joe Val still plays. It would be GPPs only. Just because he's mid-salary, I would still expect 18 to 20 minutes from him if Joe Val plays. And then all we need to do is see Jaren Jackson Jr. get into some sort of foul trouble, which can happen on any given night, like we just saw tonight, played 19 minutes. And then he's playing big minutes all again. Like I said, I'm expecting Clark to kind of sit. So he's basically one of the only backup bigs that they have and want to play at the 5 and at the 4. So unless they want to go small, but they're not going to be able to get away with that against this team.
Yeah, and if Joe Val was sick enough to miss, today, he's not going to be 100% tomorrow. So, I mean, you just might as well plan on putting Bruno in there and just eating the chalk with everybody else because you have to. It'll make your lineup a lot easier. And, he can put 30, 40 fantasy points on the board at a minimum salary. So it's a no-brainer there for sure. So you're not looking at anybody on the Indiana side either?
I don't really like their price tags. Like I've been Brogdon's priced fairly now. He's at 8,100. So is Sabonis. They're both priced fairly. Those are the only two guys I generally play. I was on Warren last game. I hit him right on the head. I got him at the right time. He was just underpriced at 4,800, but now he's back up to 62. So a lot of that juice is not. It's not on the bone anymore for us, Coach. I don't think we need to go back to that. So if you wanted to play Brogdon or Sabonis, I won't knock you for it, but they're not going to be staples in my lineup.
Yeah, I don't think so. And this game has blowout potential as well, even though it's in Memphis. But all right, Game 5. As we rock and roll along here, we have the mismatch of the night, the monster spread of the night. The lowly New York Knicks at 4-16 at the awesome 17-3 Milwaukee Bucks. So you've got a very blowout potential game without question here, which puts everything in shambles, really. I mean, the first thing is you've got to get at least 54 fantasy points, which I know that he averages like 60 fantasy points, but you have to get at least 54 plus fantasy points from Giannis just to get to value. So, I mean, that's a lot of pressure in a game where he may not play extended minutes because it's going to be a blowout. So I'm just not going to go with Giannis. I mean, Trae Young, I would much rather go with, even though he has to get to 52 fantasy points to make value at that big number. But I see that happening in a more competitive Golden State game than I would with Giannis playing against the Knicks here. So, do you take, if you game script it out, do you go with a few of the bench guys that do soak up the extra minutes when it's a blowout, like the Pat Connaughtons or the Dante DiVincenzo's? Those guys, in the right scenario, if you hit it right, at a low price, can hit 30 fantasy points easy in a blowout style game. Or do you hope the Knicks stay close and go with some Bucks guys? I'm not going to risk it as far as playing any of the regulars for Milwaukee. On the flip side with the Knicks, I'm not taking Julius Randle here at a big price or an RJ Barrett. I just don't. The Knicks are hard to roster. They really are. I mean, they're not playing at a fast pace. In fact, the Knicks are down to 28th in pace now. Milwaukee is now tied with Houston at the top spot. So, on top of playing chalk Milwaukee guys that are high priced, they're at a horrible pace down game. I guess you can make a case for the Knicks that it's a pace up, but how long does Fizdale go with the guys if the game does tilt in the wrong direction? Plus, Milwaukee's fifth in defensive efficiency. And then just to add to the blowout potential, the Knicks are all the way down to 22nd. So the bottom line is, this looks like a game of a slate of faded games and stack games. Right now I want to stack Golden State, Atlanta, a little Phoenix, Charlotte. I want to fade Utah, fade Indiana, Memphis, and fade New York, Milwaukee. How about you, man?
I'm not going to fade this game completely. I'm with you. It's probably got some pretty decent blowout potential, and it's going to go basically on how you game script it for yourself. If you're playing Giannis, you can target some of the more expensive guys on the other side of the ball. I'm on the same boat. I'd probably rather prefer Trae Young as opposed to Giannis, but I'm also a GPP player who builds multiple lineups, so I will have some shares of him. It's Giannis at the end of the day. He put up 45 DK points in 19 minutes last game.
It was ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Imagine if he played 38. We're looking at a 90-point game. So, I think he's definitely in play. I'm also going to be looking at the guys taking. Brook Lopez is doubtful at the moment. We saw Robin Lopez start for him in the last game. 4,400. I think he's definitely in play, especially because the Knicks like to play big. They have about 11 different power forwards and centers combined. So, I definitely think I'll be looking at him. Another name I wanted to bring up is if you are game scripting it as a blowout, you might want to take a look at DJ Wilson. Played mid 20 minutes last time. He's a decent point per minute producer. I can see him playing a majority of the fourth quarter if this game gets out of hand. So 3,600, I think he's a rock solid value as well. DiVincenzo, Connaughton, both those guys are in play. They're that mid fours price tag, which is still a solid value. They're not my favorite targets. I'd probably rather go down to a guy like DJ Wilson if I'm game scripting a blowout. On the other side of the ball, I really only have interest in one player, and I hate recommending him, but it's Dennis Smith Jr. 3,200 next to Minsal. Played 38 minutes tonight. Frank Ntilikina hurt his back, doubtful for tonight for Monday's game. We're recording this night before.
Yeah.
So at 3,200, even if he plays 20, 24 minutes, 25 minutes, there's still, there's a decent chance. It's a tough matchup. Everything else bodes bad against it. Like, you just don't want to do it, but it's next to min salary, so I just want to mention him.
No, I think, that's the best point of the day so far. I mean, I really do. If Ntilikina sits at the price that Smith is down to, I think you got to play him, don't you?
Well,
he becomes such when a guy only has to get like 24, 25 fantasy points to make value, and he's going to play mid 30s minutes, that's a hard one to pass up. I think that's a great point. And that's something you got to watch the news, stay with us and listen, Twitter, the whole 9 yards, because, that's one that no doubt. I mean, if he's going to be mid 30s at that price, you got to play him. But I will say that the thing I'm excited about in this game is I think the sucker play is going to be everybody jumping on the Robin Lopez bandwagon and plugging him in because he's cheap. I think he busts in this game. I think, I watched some of that last game. He had just everything bounce his way. He whacked a 3 early. I think he's a bust even at the cheap price. And I think that's a free square for me to take and put somebody else in there that's going to triple them in points. So that's one bonus side that I see that I think you can really deviate from the chalk lineups that will have Robin Lopez in there.
Hey, I'm not knocking you for it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's he only played 24 minutes. It's certainly an avenue. It's not every game he's going to get 4 assists in 24 minutes. So,
Right.
I can easily see. I'm not going to be going overweight on him. I had all of them the last one, but he was also min salary. So
Yeah.
that price bump definitely makes me think about it a little bit more. One thing I did want to mention though with the Dennis Smith Jr. thing is that Elfrid Payton did practice on Saturday. It was a partial practice. Missed today's game. I'm not expecting him to play, but it's something to monitor that might impact his minutes. I'm pretty sure Nidicolina is more or less going to be ruled out. So
Excellent. Well, that leads me to the point that I wanted to make real quickly here is, we talk about this constantly, but I just want to remind our listeners, this is a process, sort of a 3-step process in building these winning lineups in DFS. Listen to our show first thing in the morning or at your lunch break. Start building your lineups, getting things into works, get an idea of that shell lineup. Then the second piece is following all of the news throughout the day, all the way up until lock. And you can do that by following us on Twitter at HoopBallFantasy. That's where all the blurbs are going up and everything from Miles and Andy and our hoop-ball.com team. You can follow me at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. He is at Micah Patria, Mikeapotria. Also, Andrew's at at Language Olympic, and Miles is at Miles6565. Follow us all. We're all posting. We're all tweeting. Keep an eye on that. The other spot to go is go to hoop-ball.com, click on forums, click on DFS thread. That's where constant information is going on there 24/7. Miles, Andy, and the rest of all of our DFS team are posting player news, trends, lines of games, over-unders, everything, just to help you build your lineup. So follow that. And then the third piece is, that last 30 minutes when you have your lineup built and, save that lineup in there. And then that last 30 minutes, watch that news. Look for coach chatter. Look for anything that posts that can give you an edge. And then if you have to make a pivot or two from your lineup, then you can do it very easily right down to the wire. Because I'll tell you, news comes out that last 5 minutes sometimes. And one change of one player is the difference between winning a head-to-head cash game or maybe taking down a GPP. So definitely want to do that. Also, we really appreciate all the listenership and the feedback. Tweet us, send us info, let us know what you like about the show, what you'd like to see or wouldn't like to see, whatever. We love getting feedback. Also, anytime you want to listen to any of our DFS shows, all you have to do is go anywhere podcasts are found, type in Hoopball NBA DFS or just NBA DFS or even DFS today, and we're going to pop up. And just, we're everywhere that podcasts can be heard. iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeart, Spotify, YouTube, you name it, we're there. Please take 30 seconds. That's about all it takes to just click those buttons, rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars, likes, thumbs up. If you have a couple extra seconds and want to put a couple words in on a comment, that's also much appreciated. So as we grow, as we continue to offer the best 7-day free in front of the paywall NBA DFS, we want to keep building our listenership, keep going out there and attracting sponsors. So more comments and more rating, reviewing, and subscribing is really, really appreciated. All right, my man, we are going to hit this last game and finish almost exactly at what you predicted this show would end. So you are going to win both showcases, it looks like here. We've got the 10 p.m. late night sweat game, and that is the Chicago Bulls of 6-14 at the Sacramento Kings 8-10. Go for it.
Yeah, so I'll start with the Bulls. I mean, Zach LaVine's just been playing absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it kind of looks like he's finally getting that confidence back, and it looks like it stems back ever since he had a talk with his head coach, and kind of called him out. So it looks like he's taking advantage of this usage, and almost like he was in the last season. So 24, 24, and 28 shot attempts, 3 out of the past 4 games. That's what we'd like to see. I touched on this, I think, last time when Sacramento played Denver, and I kind of hit the nail on the head with the Gary Harris and Will Barton call. Shooting guards thrive against Sacramento. They've been doing that for about 2 years now, so I think it just kind of bodes well for him. I'll have some shares of Zach LaVine. I also wanted to mention Satoransky. He's finally playing starter level minutes. He's dealing with a toe injury. He's probable. But instead of going to Shaq Harrison in place at small forward with Chandler Hutchison and Otto Porter out, they're opting to go with 3 guards a little bit more. So we're kind of seeing a couple more minutes get divvied out between Satoransky and Chris Dunn. So I think that kind of pushes both those guys into territory of playing.
And Kobe White, though, as well.
Absolutely. I'm not, I just, thing is with Kobe, there's certain games I want to target him, and I'm not saying it's a bad game script for him. I would prefer just to probably spend on the other 2 guys and fade Kobe. That's probably the route I would go. If I wanted to spend down, I would go to Dunn. But more or less, I'm more interested in Satoransky than anything. I don't really trust Dunn's minutes just yet. It would be a severe GPP play. I'll probably have little lower ownership than most people would expect. But it would be Satoransky that gets the most interest there for me because it looks like he's playing a little bit of the 3 for him. So between Satoransky and LaVine, that's going to be most of my interest on the Chicago side. And then if I bounce over to the Sacramento side, it's going to be the usual players, I think. I'm going to be mostly looking at Buddy Hield. He's just, like I said, the confidence and the shot attempts are back there with him as well. 20, 24, 26 shot attempts over the last 3 games, hitting value in all 3 of them. He's underpriced at 7,100. Definitely an option. Rashawn Holmes has just been smashing, and the minutes look like they're his. If he's getting 37 minutes, I'll lock and load him in this matchup. No problem doing that. At 6,500, the price tag makes us want to think about it. But he's definitely in play. And then Bogdanovic's price tag actually dipped down a little bit. So he's gonna be another one of the options. So I think between those 3 guys will be my primary focus. I've been playing Belicia quite often actually, and it's been paying out here and there. I'm gonna probably opt to fade him at 6,100. Wouldn't be shocked to see him have a good game, but I'd limit him to GPPs. While I think the other 3 with Hield, Holmes, and Bogdanovich, those 3 guys can be played in GPPs or tournaments or cash games.
Gotcha. Good analysis, man. All right, Chicago, 12th pace in the league. Huge pace down game for them because Sacramento's now second to last. They're playing super, super slow. So, I'm concerned about the Chicago guys in this game. I know LaVine is tempting, but I don't like the price tag. I'm a full fade on Chicago. I'm not even going to waste time talking about them. Sacramento, on the other hand, I agree with the exact same 3 players you're talking about in that exact order. I like Hield, Bogdanovich, and then Holmes. Holmes is starting to get into a little bit more expensive than I would hope. So I'm not 100% sure there. But, man, I feel comfortable. I think Hield's going to make most of my lineups. And I'd love to use Bogdanovich as much as I possibly can as well. I think both of those guys are just fantastic plays. Defensive efficiency-wise, Chicago's middle of the pack at 13th, and Sacramento's at 18th. So they're not terrible defensively. This probably won't be anywhere in the shouting distance of some of the higher scoring totals for Vegas. But I have no problem firing up Hield And if I can fit Bogdanovich or Holmes in GPPs, then I will do so, and then pass on Chicago. So that's it. That's
Boom.
what I got. That's it. Look at that. It's like 30 seconds from when you predicted we would finish. So, like I say, you win both showcases. There you go.
I'll take it. Give me the jet ski, the vacation, and the camper. I'll take
Now,
all of
do
them.
we have a chicken soup challenge? That's what we got to dig up here. I want to try to get a chicken soup challenge going. I'm looking. Who did I scoff at you with? Bruno Caboclo? Now that's not fair because if Joe Val gets in or out, it skews the bet too much. Let's see. Who can I challenge you with here? Trying to think. Rubio? You liked Rubio a lot, right?
Yeah, I like Rubio a fair amount. I mean, I think at the end of the day, he's probably my third or fourth favorite point guard, but that doesn't mean I won't have shares of him.
Okay. Who are your favorite 3 point guards? Let me ask you that. We'll work
I like
backwards.
Trae Young and Bowman both in that same game. I'll have shares of Tyus Jones as well. So I think between the three of those guys, they'll both garner some ownership. And then if all the news falls right, I'll have some shares of Dennis Smith Jr. as well. So, point guard's already pretty deep for me. So I do like that value though at his price tag in that matchup. I still think there's some juice left on the bone.
What about Brogdon?
I think Brogdon has enough room to hit value. I don't expect him to bust through that wall, but I'll take Brogdon over somebody in a similar price tag. I think he'll at least get you 35 DK and upwards to like 43, 44.
Well, I was going to challenge you Brogdon against Rubio, but
Oh, well, yeah,
because
you know what?
I'm not
I'm
high
just,
on Rubio.
you know what? How about this? You give me 5 DK points and we'll lock that in.
4.5, so we don't tie.
All right, whatever. I'll take the 4.5. I feel like the underdog in it, but
No, I don't think
we haven't had
so.
a bet in quite some time. Yeah, I mean that's not a
Yeah,
big one, if anything, but
4.5 in Rubio against Brogdon, so I'm going to be up 2, and then it'll be eating dust from there. I think I'll probably have you doubled by end of next week.
yeah, I mean when we get these kinds of bets, I could see you easily winning a couple. You had another one when we had TJ. I had TJ Leaf just because Sabonis played, and so
Oh,
you got a couple asterisk ones. Why not just throw another one in there?
TJ. Now the best one was when I beat you because our guys got into a fist fight. That
Yeah,
was my favorite one.
it was by
That
like
was
a point and a half or something too.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right, man. Well, now you lost both showcases. We went over by a minute. Sorry, dude.
That
Dun,
was part
dun,
of your plan. Yeah, I
dun.
know it.
Yeah,
That's make me get a bad chicken soup bet, and then you make me go over and lose my showcases. I wanted a
you're on
camper.
tilt. You're on tilt. Rubio's going to get that back spasm right in the middle of the first quarter. Ugh, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, hopefully, I only
Ah,
have like 10% ownership in him. Not even if that's the case.
all right, dude. Well, tomorrow night is my solo night. So I have a 7 game slate that I'll be tackling tomorrow, including our Dallas Mavericks. How about them whipping the Lakers' ass today?
They're good. We talked about a preseason coach. They're a playoff team, man. I think there's no doubt about it, and I wouldn't be shocked to see a mid season deal.
Oh, there! Yeah, I already know. Did I tell you that I chit chatted? I know this is dropping names, but I can do that, and I can do it because it's not breaking confidence because it was in the press. But I chit chatted a little bit a week ago Sunday with my buddy Donnie Nelson over at the Mavericks had their open house Sunday gig, and I'm just telling you, they're going to get Iguodala. They're
Yeah.
going for Iggy.
I hope
They're
so.
going for Iggy.
I think that's one of the guys we were talking about. That I think I brought him up
Yeah,
that he would be a perfect fit for them. They need that kind of veteran wing. They don't have that guy that can cover the perimeter defenders. They need that LeBron stopper, that wing stopper. So that would be a
perfect guy to
phenomenal.
get,
Yeah, get another
and
ball
a
handler as well.
leader. Ball. I mean, just a playoff. I'm so pumped, and it sounds like that we're only going to have to give up probably the expiring contract of Lee and maybe a second round pick. So it's going to be a steal.
That'd be great for him. And I think that they need to bring in one more big.
Yeah, I mean, I keep waiting for Powell or Kleba to step up. but they're just not quite, I don't think, playoff caliber right now. So for those two, for the center position.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you right now, I like Porzingis. He's a really good player, but he is not a banging center that's going to block people out. And,
no,
I mean, he
no.
gets blocks. He's fourth in the league in blocks, but that's because the dude's 7'4". He does not chase down anything or bang around. We need somebody in there that's going to beat somebody up a little bit. I mean, that's, I hope we go after just one of the bigger, more physical centers to add to Iguodala so that we have some guys we can put out there with Porzingis and Luka that, can just do the dirty work. That's the key.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. At the end of the day, they don't want Porzingis. Even if he could bang, they want that dude healthy. They don't want
Yeah,
him going toe to toe with some of these bigger centers in the league. So,
it's
and when you think about their main competition, being in the West, you're looking at guys like the Clippers and you're looking at the Lakers. The Lakers are one team that have those three guys that could bang on the block and really cause some problems for them. So, if
yeah.
we know anything about the Mavericks, they kind of prepare for what their matchups might be in the future. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them go after one of those big body centers down low.
Well, I'll tell you, I haven't seen Donnie this pumped up since, close to like the championship years when we had, JJ and all those dudes going with Dirk and everybody. And it's been a while. It's been longer than I realized. It's been a drought. So this is going to be exciting. I know we're 13-6. That's pretty damn good. I'm fired up.
Let's keep it rolling.
All right, brother. Any closing thoughts?
No, I think we hit every game pretty nicely. We kind of gave a good amount of scenarios on what ifs happen if people sit out, if they play, what happens then. So monitor the news and good luck, guys.
Sounds great, man. And we want to thank you for joining us on Hoopball NBA DFS today. For my man Mike Apotria, I'm Coach. We'll catch you again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA DFS.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.